Shir Shel Yom Shir Yom
To my fellow dear mitpalalim at the Bet Garden community, Guten Erev Shabbos. Once again, unfortunately, I won't be with you for Shabbos, and therefore am recording this Dvar Halacha in lieu of the one we usually have on Shabbos morning. So as everybody knows, we're living in an ingathering of exiles, and one of the ways it manifests itself is the fact that our shul does not have a Nusach Kavua, as most shuls in Efrat don't. One chazan can daven Shacharit and Nusach Ashkenazic, another can daven Musaf and Nusach Sfard, and we're okay with that because that's the wonderful price to pay for an ingathering of exiles. But it seems like one thing stays the same, and that is Shir Shel Yom is always said after Shacharit, before we take out the Torah, as is Nusach Sfard and the Sfardim, and not in accordance with Nusach Ashkenaz. And my question is, why indeed are we so makpid on that in Israel in general, and in our shul in particular? It seems to be a mefurash Masechet Sofrim. When I say Masechet Sofrim, it's not a regular Gemara, not a regular tractate, but b'chol zot, it is something authoritative. We do a lot of the things in there throughout the year that are not written anywhere else, amongst them Ta'anit Bechorot, Hallel on the night of Pesach in shul, and many other things. And in Masechet Sofrim, indeed it says, as you could see on the screen, that there is a question. Mizmor or Musaf mikodem. What do you say first, Shir Shel Yom or Musaf? And the Gemara says, Mechavra milta. It is absolutely clear, Shemizmor kodem, that you say the Shir Shel Yom first. And therefore, at the end of the day, you say Shir Shel Yom before Musaf. So the first and foremost reason why we do it is because it's a Masechet Sofrim Mefurash that says, say the Shir Shel Yom before Musaf. Indeed, on the Masechet Sofrim there's a beautiful perush called Itur Sofrim. Itur Sofrim was written by Rav Yitzchak Landa, who lived in the 19th century, 1801 through 1876. And Rav Yitzchak Eliyahu Landa says that from here it is clear, Ka'amar de mecharvta de shemizmor kodem lemusbach gamkein bezeh hazman. Indeed, according to this Masechet Sofrim, you're supposed to say the Shir Shel Yom before Musaf, and therefore he doesn't understand how come in his communities, obviously Nusach Ashkenaz, they say masamchu hashta la'asot behefech. How come in his communities they daven Musaf, and then only after Musaf they say the Shir Shel Yom? So, to make things very, very clear, the Masechet Sofrim paskin is shaila for us, and that's why we're so makpid on it. And the question is, why indeed did Masechet Sofrim say this? When the Rambam brings how a Shabbos looked on the Beis HaMikdash, he talks about the Korban Tamid and all the avodot that they did for that daily morning sacrifice. And then he says, Uvesha'at HaNisuch, when they did the Nisuch HaYayin on the Korban, Omrim HaLeviim Ashir. And then he tells you what the Shir Shel Yom is every day. And finally he says, on Shabbos they would say Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat. And then he adds, when they brought the Musaf, B'Yom HaShabbat Shnei Chvasim B'nei Shana Temimim for Musaf, they wouldn't say the Shir Shel Yom for Shabbos, they would say a different Shir Shel Yom. What was it? It was actually not from the book of Tehillim, it was from the 5 books of Moses. It was no more, no less, Shira Ta'azinu. They divided it up into 6 parts. Each week they said a part, and when the 6 weeks were over, said the Rambam, they went back to the first. So ultimately, in Shul, for some reason, we don't say Parshat Ha'azinu, or at least a part of it, after Musaf. We'll have to deal with that some other time. But we do say Shir Shel Yom after what's in place of the Tamid Shel Shachar. What's in place of the Tamid Shel Shachar? No more and no less, Shacharis. So when you finish Shacharis, which stands in place of the Tamid Shel Shachar, that would be the most suitable and appropriate place to say the Shir Shel Yom. And indeed, this is not me implying it. This is the Aruch HaShulchan. Rav Yechiel Michal Epstein, who made it to the 20th century, comes along and says that min hadin, indeed, it seems that the strict letter of the law against the Nusach Ashkenaz that they probably davened in his town of Norvadik, min hadin lomar b'Shabbos v'Yontiv, v'Rosh Chodesh, hashir shel yom de Shacharit achar Tfilat Shacharit. You should say the Shir Shel Yom right after Shacharis. V'chen minhag Sfaradim. This is the minhag of the Sfaradim. V'nachonu, and it's actually correct. V'anachnu lo nahagnu ken v'hu pele, and we don't do it. And he's baffled. Why not? He basically strengthens the point of view that says, if indeed you're saying the Shir Shel Yom like the Levium and the Beis HaMikdash, follow their order. What did they do? They brought the Tamid, put the Nisuach Hayayin, and said Shir Shel Yom. So we daven Shacharis instead of the Tamid. We should say Shir Shel Yom of Shacharis, Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbat, right after we daven Shacharis. And therefore, I believe in our shul, we are so pedantic about this point. We in our shul are living in Israel. We have an ingathering of exiles. And I believe that we are closer than we've ever been before to a perfect time of a Beis HaMikdash, of a full redemption, and hopefully speedily in our days. But until that time, I believe we have to do everything to prepare ourselves. And therefore, the fact that we mimic much more the way they used to say Shir Shel Yom, it's just another manifestation of the fact that we're living in Israel. Thank God. We have a state, and a sovereign state for that matter. And yes, even when it comes to the Shir Shel Yom that they used to do and will do, we try to mimic it much more than we did in Chutz La'aretz. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom and Besorot Tovot Yeshuot V'Nechamot.